Hi everyone, welcome to my webinar. I'm Chris Bowes from Discreet Heat. I'm one of the domestic project managers that will be hosting the webinar this evening. So we'll go through a few things. I'll just share my presentations now. Due to the demand at the moment, we're getting thousands and thousands of inquiries. We've moved from Teams over to YouTube. So I'll just share my screen now. So some of the things we're going to be talking about today, obviously what is ThermaSkirt, how it works, some features and benefits of the product. I'll summarise everything all at the end, just to go through some key points. Any questions that you got, feel free to pop them in the chat. I have one of my colleagues that's actually answering all the questions, so feel free to pop anything in and we'll answer. So what is ThermaSkirt? Obviously you wouldn't be here if you had no idea what ThermaSkirt was, but essentially ThermaSkirt is just another heating alternative to underfloor heating and radiators, but it's disguised as a skirting board, as you can see from the photo, as an aluminium panel. Now ThermaSkirt can be used in both retrofit and new build programs, and it's extensively being used by housing developers in both of these areas. So who's using it? One of which to mention is Barratt's, one of the UK's largest house builder. So before we get into the nitty gritty of ThermaSkirt, I'm going to leave you with the technical director of Barratt's and Channel 4's George Clark and a video of what their thoughts are.
There's some great stories around the Z House.
And I mean, obviously we can't physically see it. I wish we were there having a look around it now, but just paint a picture of what it's like in terms of design and innovation.
Yeah. I think the most important thing for me was that the Z House looked normal. So the Z House is actually called an Alderney. It's one of the houses we build many thousands of. We have 400 sites, so we're selling a lot of these. So we know customers like the house. The second most important thing was that you could be green in this house without having to try, without a change to your lifestyle. So if you were to walk up to the Z House, you wouldn't know that it was a zero carbon home. And if you walked around it, except for an air source heat pump on the outside, which wouldn't be normal in today's house, and some of the innovative heating systems like infrared and skirting boards that deliver heating, you wouldn't know. You'd just live a normal life, but actually you'd be saving 70% of the energy that you'd usually use. That's quite a lot, isn't it?
So skirting boards deliver heat energy.
Yeah. So you'll know with the air source heat pumps, the temperature of the water reduces down to 40, 45 degrees. So you need a lot more surface area. The problem in the houses is surface area delivered by radiators mean they could be quite big, and where radiators get in the way of furniture and other things. So Salford University actually introduced us to this innovation where the hot water goes into the skirting board. But all of your skirting boards are the radiator.
So you've got no other radiators in the house?
So in the Z House I have, because I'm testing. But actually, in some of the other houses we're now trialing, we won't have radiators. We'll either have skirting board heating or underfloor heating.
So multifunctional skirting board.
Yeah.
Love that.
And what's great about it is that you can also put electric down it. So as you know, as we move further along the zero carbon agenda, we're going to really concentrate on fabric.
So the skirting board's a bit like ductwork for running services.
Yeah. So as you know, in offices, we've regularly ran electrics, haven't we, down the service. Here, we're running hot water in the skirting board. There's some great stories.
So, as Oliver mentioned, we are going to have to look at being more efficient with our heating systems. So how Barratt's will do this with their new build properties is they're going to be using heat pumps designed at low flow temperature, as the houses will be heavily insulated. However, you can be very efficient with your heating system too on a gas boiler. What you will have to do is obviously reduce your flow temperature to around 60, 55 degrees. Now, with this reduction in flow temperature, you are going to have to increase the size of your emitters. So with radiators, you will be looking at using either double or triple panel radiators in order to be more efficient. Alternatively, increasing massively the width of the radiator itself. Now, developers and our 80,000 customers over the last sort of 15 years, they really found radiators repulsive and not really suitable for their property. So that's why they continue to use us and offer options on developers, and customers continue to come back to us for a more practical, space-saving, efficient heating. Now, to really picture the size of the radiator versus the equivalent length of skirting, I've got a table here that shows you a double panel radiator, the output at delta T20, which is a heat pump flow temperature, and then the equivalent length of Deco BM2, or 2-pipe system, and the equivalent length of Deco BM3, or 3-pipe system. And as it's taller and more surface area, the 3-pipe, it delivers more heat into the room. Now, if you had a room that was around sort of 500 watts heat loss, and you would try to heat it with a radiator on a heat pump, you would need a double panel 1 meter long radiator to meet the heat loads of that particular room. Alternatively, if you were using the 2-pipe profile, you would only need 11.7 meters of available wall space. And with the 3-pipe, you would only need 7.5 meters of available wall space, so even less. So essentially, ThermaSkirt eliminates the aesthetic and practical compromises involved with radiators, as you're removing the need for a big bulky sort of metal box on your wall, and you just use the skirting that you've already got, but that will be delivering the heat. Now, really how you should be using your boiler, if you've got one, is by reducing it to sort of condensing temperature, as that's how really they're rated. Now, what our customers have been doing is by designing at those lower temperatures, 50, 55 degrees, they've been finding that ThermaSkirt is around 20% more efficient than the nearest alternative and improving the room's thermal comfort. Some of our customers have been taking one step further and actually getting sort of heat pump ready and designing at 45 degrees flow temperature on a boiler. This means they can remove their radiators, get the pipework ready, install their ThermaSkirt, and whenever they're ready to remove their boiler and shut the heat pump in, they can do so whenever they sort of please. So it's a lot less disruption getting a heat pump ready using ThermaSkirt, and a great interim solution. So how does ThermaSkirt actually work? So we've got here just a cylinder that's obviously powered by a heat pump with the 22mm flow and return going around the house. Then we're teeing off into 15mm copper or plastic into the ThermaSkirt, similar to what you would do for a radiator. And the hot water is obviously going into the ThermaSkirt, and the heat is being transmitted into the room via radiant heat. So you can control ThermaSkirt either by a manual dial like a TRV but at skirting level, or you can use digital controls similar to underfloor heating like a manifold system. Now, I've not only got the flexibility with controls, but you can design all the way from 35 degrees all the way up to 70. That's flow temperature, so it's the perfect partner for heat pumps. You can use it on a boiler, you can use it at really low flow temperatures, and it's a great interim solution if you are looking to be more efficient. So the reason why ThermaSkirt is more efficient is due to obviously the fact it's made of aluminium. So aluminium is a great emissivity of heat. It's quick to heat up and quick to cool down. And as it's squashed and stretched and all around the room, it's essentially one giant 360-degree radiator. Now, as it's radiant heat, rather than convection heat, like a radiator sort of heats the room, you have the comfort similar to underfloor heating. So you've got all the ease of install with a radiator and the fast respondingness, but you have the nice even heat distribution all around the room, similar to what you would get with underfloor. So this has been proven by an independent company called Bizria. So they had a test with 2 rooms, 4 by 4 meters, as you can see on the screen here. Now, to the left, you've got 800 watts delivered by convected heat by the radiators. And then to the right, you've got 800 watts delivered by radiant heat, which was with ThermaSkirt. Now, if we look at the radiator graph, we've got 22 degrees by the radiator itself. And as you move further and further away from, obviously, the hottest point of the room to the coldest, you're looking at a differential of 4.8 degrees, which is quite substantial considering you can probably detect that quite easily and be quite cold on the extremities of the room. Now, with ThermaSkirt, you only have a differential of between 1.8 degrees and 1.9, which obviously is significantly more comfortable. Now, from this test data, not only that obviously Bizria found that we are 13% more efficient than radiators like for like, but you will be more comfortable in the room due to the fact that it will be the same temperature throughout. Now, radiators, they have to work extra hard on heat pumps or increase by a factor of around 3 in order to meet the heat loads at low flow temperatures, which is quite unappealing and creates a barrier for our step to net zero with our heating systems. So not only we're thinking about being an efficient heating system, but we reflect as a company on how we're going to be sustainable. So this might mean a lot to yourselves, and we all need to think of how we can go more green as a company. So this is a graph how ThermaSkirt goes from just pure aluminium installed at the end into someone's home working as a heating system. So it starts off with a company called Hydro in North Wales. So they extrude the aluminium and get it all ready with 98% recycled aluminium and send it over to our factory here in Atherton. Now we get other parts from the West Midlands, Lancashire, covers, corners, connections, which we all assemble, box up, test and get all ready to go. Now they get sent to merchants such as City Plumbing, who then send it onto smaller branches onto the homeowner, or they will send it directly to site if it's a large project, like a large block of apartments. One thing to also note is that all of our parts that we get in discrete heat is 100% manufactured within the UK. So we are trying to think sort of the future and our steps towards getting to net zero as a company. Obviously ThermaSkirt is very efficient, it works well. We have lots of people that use us, but what's some real life examples? And this is a great one. So this was a gentleman named Nigel. He had a 17th century cottage powered by an oil boiler. So he was really struggling with radiators as he had high heat losses, very glazed and high heat loss areas. So radiators would have to be absolutely everywhere. It looked like a radiator warehouse, and underfloor heating would have been very tricky to install with lifting the flooring and the retrofit program. So we found ThermaSkirt and was very impressed. So essentially how we designed it was the 3-pipe for the ground floor, so high sort of heat loss areas where you're spending most of your time, and the 2-pipe on the first floor, with bedrooms that have less heat demand. All of these rooms were plumbed back to a manifold with individual room thermostats that were Wi-Fi enabled. And as you can tell from his comments, this has been going on his heating system since 2015, so it's all good to go, and he's been very happy to this day. Looking at the picture, that is our heated threshold. So we have in front of high heat loss areas or glazed areas or bifolding doors, we can do our 2-pipe system on its back, and this particular one was colour matched to his bifolding doors. So we're getting a nice even heat distribution all around his rooms. So these are just more examples of Nigel's property. To the left, you've got the 3-pipe system on the ground floor. You have the square edge profile. So again, just looks like standard skirting. It's 20mm deep. And to the right, you've got the kitchen plinth profile, the 2-pipe system, just on his plinths, colour matched. And then the bottom right is in his bedroom. So even though he had a mix and match, he's been very happy with it. It works very well. And it's just a great example of the use of ThermaSkirt. Now our second case study is the opposite end of the spectrum, is a new build. So not so old, not so tricky walls to get on. So this gentleman here, Joel Winders, he is the commercial director of Kingswood Home. So you might be already thinking about buying a Kingswood Home. You might have even seen the ThermaSkirt in this show home. But essentially Joel, he was doing an extension. He found ThermaSkirt, a bit like yourselves, on social media or through sort of the internet. So he used it for his extension, had it all installed, and was so impressed by obviously how we performed in that. He proposed it to his colleagues, and they were very happy with the look of it, how it performed, and they're offering it on their homes right now and installing it. So these homes are actually designed to be heat pump ready. So boilers are going in, but Joel, he's thinking about the future and what the consumer is going to need in sort of the 5-10 years time. So we've got BM3 for the ground floor and the BM2 for the first floor, so similar to Nigel's property. All sort of standard plumbing, similar to like a radiator with onboard TRV controls. So this is proven to be very popular as people are choosing ThermaSkirt as an option for their Kingswood home, which more and more developers are looking to do as everyone's looking to be heat pump ready and go more green and save more on their energy bills. So we've got more examples here. So this particular example is the tourist capping. It matched what profile they had. And again, it just looks like standard skirting, a bit more sort of traditional look that we've got there, a bit more fancier. And right now I'm going to show a video of us actually removing their radiator and installing ThermaSkirt. So you get to see what it's like to actually install skirting and removing a radiator. Just removing the old skirting here. Getting the pipe ready for ThermaSkirt. This was a bi-directional piece which started in the middle of a wall. As you can see, feeding into the ThermaSkirt there.
I'll redo that one.
Just as simple as that. So that particular video had over 25 million views over our social media platforms. It's very popular and goes to show how easy ThermaSkirt is to install. So again, another great example, and if you are in the area of sort of where the Kingswood Home's sort of showroom is, feel free to see it, especially if you're thinking about the Kingswood Home yourself. So obviously it's worked great, we've got some great case studies there. What do other people think over the years? So I've just got a list of sort of some reviews that we've got. Recent old systems, as we've got sort of like 2012, it's been installed working fine, 2017, 2015. It's all been working for a long period of time, so it's not like this is a new product, but it might be a little bit obviously new to the market if you're stumbling across it now. So feel free to go to our Trustpilot. We've got multiple 5-star reviews there, sort of shouting out. I'll just skip through a few. So obviously our customer service, we've got highly rated as well. Was helping a variety of customers. Great installations, best company ever. Thank you, Jerry. But yeah, feel free to go back, have a look, pause the video, or just go to our Trustpilot and have a look for yourself at what customers have to say. Obviously, the main thing: what are the costs of ThermaSkirt? Obviously, it's a great product, dead efficient, makes rooms look considerably nicer. Is it going to cost an arm and a leg? So this particular property was a new build. It was on an air source heat pump, so low flow temperatures. Red lines that we've got on the floor plans is where we've designated the heated skirting. So you might sort of notice straight away, we're not on every single wall. So typically, we're only on really 50 to 75% of all walls within a house. Whereas lounge dining areas sort of more 75%, and sort of the bedrooms more 50%, can be 75% if there's more heat loss. So if we look at the ThermaSkirt materials of this particular house, for the ground floor and first floor for the materials only, you were looking at £3,561.86 for this home. Now this customer was comparing against just bog standard radiators that were heat pump ready on this house. So the radiators and auxiliaries were £1,100. The savings of 15mm pipe and lagging was £300, and that's because you don't need to get to the extremities of the room with ThermaSkirt. With radiators, you have to get to the windows. With us, you can just start the easiest point, for example, here in bedroom 1, here in bedroom 2. So we speed up the install and the use of materials. Now the supply and painting and the skirting that, that didn't need anymore, as we were providing double powder coated, finished, heated skirting, that was around £1,200, as they didn't need a joiner decorator for these areas. So we were making a saving of around £2,700 for the whole house. Now, there's an £800 difference, but with ThermaSkirt, you're getting something that's more efficient, that's space saving, that looks considerably nicer, and is going to make you feel a lot more comfortable. Really, there's not that much difference for ThermaSkirt versus sort of a box standard radiator. Now, if you are looking at sort of like designer radiators or even designer aluminium radiators, the cost comparison will be a lot more closer, and sometimes ThermaSkirt actually being cheaper than the top end radiators. So it kind of makes it a bit of a no-brainer where you can remove a metal box on the wall, you can feel a lot more comfortable and be more efficient with your heating system. So just to summarize this webinar, just so obviously you can take your thoughts away from it, ThermaSkirt is a space-saving and aesthetically preferable alternative to radiators. I think we all can agree with that, especially with the pictures you see from Kingswood. You can remove that box off the wall and have a lovely skirting all around. So ThermaSkirt works with a range of temperatures, all the way from heat pump, 35 degrees flow temperature, all the way up to oil boiler, sort of 70, 75 degrees. It works absolutely fine. So it's a perfect partner for heat pumps. Now it comes with a 10-year warranty, and as it's double powder coated and made of aluminium, it's a very robust system, so it can take wax hits. If you go on our YouTube channel, you might find our NHS robust product test. Have a look, see what you think. So there's very little maintenance requirements, not like with radiators where you have to bleed and clean every now and then. As it's aluminium, it's non-ferrous, no sludge builds up, and as it's horizontal, no air sort of builds up too. Obviously you might find the air just builds in your tower radiators if you've got them in your property. So it's 100% manufactured within the UK with 98% recycled aluminium. So radiators, underfloor heating, usually the parts are exported from abroad and brought into the UK, whereas with us, with ThermaSkirt, it's all UK based, so reducing our carbon footprint. And to date, there's over 80,000 systems installed and distributed all around the world. So the name's out there, it's been tried, it's been tested. By no means necessary that this is going to be tested within your property. So that's it. Hopefully you've posted a few questions in the chat and my colleagues managed to answer a few. If you do have a project that's active and you'd like us to look at it, inquire online, go to our page and just sort of fill out a form, upload your floor plans. If you do submit your floor plans, you get some free samples, you can see it in real life. Alternatively, you can email me directly if you've got any burning questions or you want to really get the process started moving quite quickly for your project. And there's our direct office line as well, so give us a call. Myself or one of the many capable people in our office can see what we can do to help you out with your heating solution. So thank you all for joining tonight. I hope you've managed to learn a little bit about ThermaSkirt and looking to use us within your project. We'll see what we can do to help, and yeah, I look forward to speaking to you with your project. Speak soon. See you later.